Alright, let's get all the disclaimers out of the way. So, I sometimes like to really think on things. I may talk a little slow if you are not the type of person who likes to think along with the person doing the review and prefer to just kind of get through it really quick. Put it on a 1.5 times speed. And that'd probably be perfect for you. For everyone else, hey, let's analyze this. Camera, the spectator cam, it's kind of shitty, especially for you, Nevermore, so I'll do my best here. Right off the bat, let's talk about both comps, mainly yours, Nevermore. Goat's defense. I'm not a fan of that at all. Like, it is a good first point Goat's map for maybe offense, but for defense, and I could almost say generally with Goat's defense, but let's just talk specifics here. It's not really preferable, mainly because they could scout you out, they could change to say like a pharmacy. Looks like they're starting off with it though, and it's just very Goats on this point gets very easily countered. Especially also because like the skybox and the sight lines and like how the map is laid out is kind of long almost. There are some tight points, but for the most part it's kind of long. So for like a Goat's defense, you can't really have good map control. You got to move around as six together, so you could only contest certain parts of the map as Goats. And so that's like another issue with Goat's defense. And then like the last big issue I kind of see here is if you lose first point, the second point of defense is also not favorable for Goats, which means the swaps and the flow and the transition from Goats to preferably dive for second point, it's not the best. So I think you all are starting on not a good foot. So in my eyes, this is an uphill battle. But we'll play it out, and I'll just work with the idea of Goat's defense and try to give you all the best plan of action here. So, oh wait, fuck! I'm such a bot, dude. I was gonna use the pop-out player. Okay. Great start, right? Let's see here. I was already having trouble with the play pause option. So if you just hear me smack the spacebar, that's kind of it. I think this is so interesting of a dive that Calamity did here, going from turret to over. So here, I absolutely love the response and rotation. Like I was so happy to see y'all go for the right response here. So really quickly, y'all know Widow was pushing it through here. She was poking, and you all got her so low. Unlucky, you didn't kill her. That if you would have killed her, you probably would have held this. That's how delicate this was. Pharmacy's pushing down center, and then you have Winston, Diva, Lucio pushing over here, right? Now, something happens, I don't know what, but your Zenyatta ends up going here, and doesn't move with you all in rotation. That kind of hurts you all a lot later. But knowing that you're gonna be contesting over here, you should know by default that Widow is gonna end up pushing this way. So Widow has all of this, right? This is her entire map now, and when she gets in position, she's gonna have pretty good line of sights, right? And she could even rotate over here. It's getting messy now, I'm going to clear it. So Widow has all of this map. Pharmacy has all of this. And their dive has all of this, right? So their map controls are looking like this right now. This is all of their map. And you all have this currently controlled, but you're going to be rotating this way. So you're going to end up controlling this, which ultimately means that their map control is going to end up looking something like this, right? That's why I don't like Goats. You get kind of cornered, right? Now there still is some room for you all to survive this, right? It's not the end of the world, but this is what I mean by it being an uphill battle. So, sorry, that's probably meant more for the coaches. Let me get more towards the players now. So, good reaction to this dive. Oh my god, that takes so long. So the enemy Winston dives without D.Va, and so it's a very good idea that you all decided to focus him, and especially you, D.Va. I would prefer some follow-up by Tony. Now you could argue, well, if you were worried about the Widow, understandable, right? But because Ali is in a bad position, he gets to help take down that Winston. I'm not sure why the Winston dove up there by himself. Might have been a mistake on their part. But they want Shaw to kind of try to contest this area, so that way Widow could go ahead and get those picks. So at the same time, actually, wait to play this out one more second. So at this point, Reinhardt, you know that D.Va and Lucio, they're over here, but you can't really do anything about that. You can't really do anything about the Winston, so you need to be immediately worried about their 2 win conditions, right? About the Widow and the Pharah. So you could stand on payload, try to block as many shots from the Pharah. I'm not a fan of that, mainly because she could just fly over. So the only thing left really for you to do is make sure Widow doesn't get the best line of sights. Try to, like, the further you push up, the more you block her field of view. So I'd be quickly rushing over here to stop her from destroying your team and let your team do the rest of the work. And for the rest of you all, you should be really focused on Winston right now, and considering that their team, only these 2 people can really get in your face, and the rest of them generally want to stay away. You could probably guess that D.Va's going to be your next target. So we'll play this out a little more. So Winston dies. And Winston dies. D.Va, looks like both D.Vas are kind of fighting it out there. I would have preferred you all to turn and collapse on D.Va. Instead, Brig decides to try to go for the Mercy, which is wrong for multiple reasons. I'm sure you all probably could already see what went wrong in hindsight, so I'm going to quickly get through this. Brig just keeping that spatial awareness of, okay, Widow's on that side. I have to be very careful how I aggress here. Probably should have waited a little for your Ryan. If your Ryan did push up sooner, might have been able to get this kill. But even to add on to that, Zarya, if you were target focusing with your team, probably could have gotten this kill. Lucio, since you weren't really, I'm not sure if you're helping your D.Va there. It's hard with the pixels. You probably also could have helped. But ideally, I would prefer all of y'all to at least just been on the same page, either on the Mercy or on the D.Va. But it seems like y'all are on different pages here. And this is kind of that last moment that you all could really win this, considering that Widow just picked out your Brig. So the team is very split, not only positioning, but in target focus as well, and this is basically why you all end up losing the fight. And Zenyatta, that was your last chance to regroup with your team, because you don't, you do pay the price. So try to, as goats, try to definitely be in the safest position possible. If you're going for a flank Zen, you gotta do it at the right time. Right there wasn't the right time, or at least not against that comp. Yeah, like you all could have easily collapsed on the D.Va. You could have turned around and collapsed the D.Va and let the Rhine just try to shield the Widow. But because of that, you put yourselves in the toughest of spots. So not necessarily a loss. Doesn't look good though. And at this point, it's not looking good because now you all are clumped up. They have all of the space control, right? So now their space control is literally like, oh shit, everywhere inwards, right? And yeah, you all are kind of screwed at this point. I would have been ready to call it a loss, like say the fight's lost and just get out, just die on point, whatever. Now for sure, fight should have been called off, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because y'all don't really call it, and I know that because y'all literally start to run in and feed. Cesaria, questionably, you could have gotten out. Questionably, maybe you should die on point. I don't know. Lucio, maybe questionably as well. This wasn't questionable. D.Va, you definitely should have not been coming back out here. You just helped feed the Pharah ult for next fight. So here are those swaps now. Swaps are coming in. Yeah. Oh, wait. Ollie switches. So when I first saw this, I thought, yes, like I actually do like the Lucio Zen, even though it's like very low heals, may seem like an old strat. It's surprisingly strong. And I thought you all were going with this, but you'll end up switching Ollie to Ana. Now, Ana's like would be my third choice in support. Mainly because my first choice probably would have been Zen. Second choice maybe Mercy, maybe vice versa. It doesn't really matter. But I don't like Ana because yes, you do have more heals, and yes, there's a lot of high grounds for her to use. This map, like, there's not very clear sight lines until the end of the second point, right? On bridge and that long stretch. That's like only the really clear sight lines. And everything else, you have to like peek really hard, put yourself in really like open positions in order to get good line of sights. And that's good for Widow, right? Like Widow puts herself in positions where you get pretty solid line of sights, and then that dive kind of like enforces that space. But as for an Ana, and especially since you know that this is a common dive / Widow point, it's risky. It's extremely risky. You have to make sure you're going to be healing your team, and if you're not healing your team, like that's dangerous. And like you all will see why I don't like Ana. And there's so many. Pretty much all your fights are lost because of that. Honestly, honestly. Okay, I'll stop. Let me take a quick look at my notes here. Fast forward 10 seconds. And yeah, and as far as like win conditions goes, I mean, that's also pretty obvious from both sides. I will want to point out the pacing. Since you all are running the Genji Widow Ana, and they're running the Widow Pharmacy, you kind of want to have a slightly quicker pace than Calamity does. Calamity wants to go a little on the slower end, not only because of slower heals, but both of their DPS are poke-centric DPS, meaning they're there to reinforce and pressure areas of the map, and of course go for picks. Whereas you all are meant more for like actual diving, right? To really get in there and have a fast pace. So the Calamity wants to go slow, you want to go fast. That's also really important to point out. Always have to pause it twice for some reason. So regarding that pacing, like at this point, you all have pretty solid advantage considering. Now I know they pop sites, which kind of scared you all off, and I'm assuming that is why you all didn't want to engage right away here. But one, D.Va's half, and they have low healings. Not only that, Winston used bubble and he used jump, so they're really on the back foot here. But you all hesitate on the engagement, and again, I'm assuming because of that, the Widow sites kind of scared y'all. But ideally, like if y'all are in this position where you're all on the high ground and you know they're barely pushing out here, like you know for a fact they're not really. Hold on, let me change colors here. They haven't pushed out over here yet, right? Like they're barely pushing in through choke, so they're more like coming out through here, right? They're more like doing this. Widow's kind of like over here, right? So you could kind of look, but also quickly kind of realize this whole area is like safe, and so you'll just go in, right? You could pressure in, you could go in and start an engagement, force something to happen. Your Ana should generally be safe if you keep track of the both dive tanks. Like this is probably the most opportune moment to engage. Can't stress that enough. Or probably did stress that enough. Oh my god, play, please. Play. Thank you. See, y'all back off. And what's, because y'all back off, your Widow, you know, didn't, operating on her own agency, so she didn't back off. She decided to get into that position, get and go for picks. Gets a pick on a Mercy. Because Karma and Vanguard, you all didn't engage in that moment, in that window of opportunity, your Widow did the engagement. Since your Widow did the engagement, Calamity's going to respond by diving Widow. So, like, if y'all would have put pressure onto, like, say, their dive tanks or onto their team, and Rory would have still, you know, gotten into that position to pick the Mercy, it would have been a very tough call for Calamity to abandon their team to go for the Widow, because you all already had them pressured. But because y'all didn't, this pans out. Right. Now I will say, so they get to pick onto Widow. So I will say though, when you drop onto Lucio, I saw this and I was like, wow, that's fucking good. I love the quick target transition onto this Pharah, especially since he doesn't have the Mercy. You weren't afraid to dive that. Oh, beautiful. I saw this and so many teams fail to do this. They fail to get that perfect second dive too. So slightly sluggish first dive, still successful, super fucking successful second dive. And then the third dive is usually where dive teams kind of get really disorganized, especially because this is kind of close. If y'all would have had good target focus for the third target, you would have gotten the D.Va here, or Winston, either or, and probably would have won y'all the fight. This fight ended up as a draw, so you don't have the best target focus. And not only that issue with Ana, she was on the high ground and she hasn't healed y'all this whole time, because she's still trying to rotate and she's still trying to find kind of where you all are moving to and where y'all going. She's kind of dancing up here. She's like where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? And there's like a lot of hesitation going on. And yes, you could kind of blame it on Ana, but not really. Like this is one of the issues of this map for Ana. So that's generally why I don't like Ana as your other healer. So this is where it starts to really fall apart. See, so D.Va was on D.Va, Winston was on Winston. Choose targets, focus targets. This isn't going to be the first time that it's a real issue. It becomes a very repeating issue. And compared to Calamity, they have very good target focus, generally speaking. And I'll point out those examples in the future. Let me switch notes here. Oh shit, I was behind on my notes. I was reviewing it without it, but let me catch up really quick here. Fast forward another 10. Fucking greatest of the VODs. There is a lot, I mean, and part of me pausing it so much is because the camera is kind of crap, and so like I had to basically keep track of everyone and where they're at, what they were doing. But anyways, so target focus error. Ana's not in the best position to really do much here. Like she only just started healing D.Va there. Like she barely got into a position where she could start healing right there, as Winston was backing off. So you can kind of see that. And in this moment, like Tony, I think you probably could have beat very aggressively here and kill the rest of their team, like focus a D.Va out, focus a Winston out, or even beat and then jump onto the Widow. Even though Karma did kind of leap back, you still could have beat it, speed boost in, and probably gotten a D-Mech, a kill, the second kill. And not only that, by the time the beat, is starting to go away, Ollie could end up healing the rest of your team back to full HP, and hey, there you go, you would have the fight won. But instead, both teams decided this fight's going to be a draw, and so both teams kind of like back off. But that is something that is in favor for Team Calamity, because they haven't pushed the payload that far yet either. So they're completely okay with it kind of ending in this stalemate, and just re-pushing because they have attacker's advantage, whereas you all are going to have to regain map control. So an aggressive beat, I think, would have been great here. He had he had 4-second window, and then also if your Lucian mechanics are good, you definitely could have killed all of them. You probably could have gone for the Widow while your tanks deal with the tanks and been done. But that's fine. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's not one of those like really bad mistakes, but definitely something that I would say missed window. So then this is what I was talking about. They get to just like reset the fight and go again, whereas you all are just setting up. So let this play out. So they're just trying to keep you all at bay while they kind of push payload. You all are trying to like set up here. Another reason why I don't like Ana, but also this is kind of micro positioning. So first off, I think that was an early beat. Let me see that again. Yes, it was. So with the aggressive beats, I'm sure you know this. This might have been an error, but as a Lucy player, like, I don't know, beats one of those things where like it's easy to mess up. And so, like, me personally, I tried my best to never mess them up. And I really don't mind when people put salt in the wound when I do mess it up, even though I know it. So I'm going to put some salt in the wound here, Tony. When it comes to an aggressive beat, and especially when you're dive, and especially if your dive hasn't taken damage before the countdown of the dive, you generally want to beat kind of like at the, so like 3, 2, 1, and then like as the 1 is being said, you beat. There's a 0.8 second cast time. So, and then Winston's dive crash times or dive times with the D.Va should probably be about 0.8 to 1.2. I mean, if it's a short one, it's like really short dive. Anyways, so you should be beating kind of around that window of when they're like mid dive. Like the beat should be connecting mid dive, or should be connecting as they land, and that's like the earliest you should do it. And the latest you could do beat is like as they're landing, and when you notice the enemy respond. That takes a little more intel, a little more awareness of where the enemy is going to focus targets and where the damage is going to come in from. But if you do have that intel, that lets you beat as late as possible, right? So if you notice the Widow and Pharah aren't looking at your Winston at all, then you know he's not going to get bursted down. Probably don't need to use beat, right? But if you notice like everyone's just staring down your Winston as he's diving in, then you know you're probably going to need to beat like fairly early or fairly soon. So salt's in the wound for you. I'm sure you know that already, but that's super important that you don't mess those up. So that's the first issue. Sorry, I'm a little distracted there. So that's the first issue. The second issue is, this is generally why I don't like Ana as a healer. She has to follow you guys to maintain those line of sights, and she's put in a tough spot where the enemy just jumps on her as you all are diving, and this happens so often where they just dive her and they just kill her. Now, the reason why I say this could be fixed with the micro position change. So you have your Widow here, so you have one there, and you send all 5 up here to go this way, right? Honestly, you only need 4. You only need this 4 to go up here. Lucio could heal whoever's on the high ground if they take any damage, and then just kind of jump wherever you need to. Ana, you have 2 spots where ideally you could be at, right here. So like you could walk up with them, heal them as they're pushing it through here, but as they push in through here, you could rotate back this way, and that way you'd be able to have line of sights, you know, through this wall here or through the side of this castle. Or you could be positioned kind of near your widow. I don't like that one because that means you'll be line of sight of their widow. But that you would have kind of similar line of sights, pressure similarly the same things, and that way your team knows they could dive there and be very, very, very safe. But that's why I prefer you have been here, so that way you could kind of have the ability to heal them and then rotate this way and still have the cover not only from this wall but that little like wall that's also down there. And you just generally have more options to do things. So if they're running like a Genji, this might have been dangerous, obviously for Genji flanks, but also he could come up their mid and whatnot. But considering what they have, like you could kind of easily tell where to position, right? So as a rule of thumb, I'm sure you all know this maybe subconsciously, but I'm going to bring it to your conscious thought. Especially for supports, your positioning is dictated not only by the map and by what role you're playing, but also what the enemy has, right? And so since they're very poke-centric, and they have dive, like it's going to be very line of sight dependent, right? Very, very line of sight dependent here. Let's see. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's a nice turnaround. See, I was confused by this one here. So Winston, Calamity's Winston tries to jump to payload to safety into your widow's line of sight, and he was like 50 HP. So y'all should have had a pretty good idea that he was gonna be dead pretty for sure. So I'm not too sure what that diva bomb was. You sent it towards him, meaning you wanted to kill him, at the same time wanted to contest payload with bomb, but you probably should have known that none of the team was there. Overall, I'm having trouble understanding what that bomb was. Like I honestly try to look at it. If it was to kill the Winston, it definitely was not justified within its decision making. I don't know any other reasons why you would. So maybe you could enlighten me there. I'll get a couple picks here, regain map control, super good. Y'all don't have your full team, so y'all just waiting for your full team to kind of really recontest. They try to do the same, like soft contest. As their team gets there, the team finally gets there, and I actually kind of like what you'll end up doing here. Hold on. Oh shit. Okay. Sorry, just got a little lost there. So I love this. I love this like pressure onto Mercy, this drop onto Mercy rather, and knowing that if she GAs, you're just gonna dive her and call it that, right? So Diva, I know you boosted to secure that kill. So now that you got the kill, you definitely have enough boosters to go back to your Ana. But you kind of don't. Wait, do you make it back onto the high ground? It's hard to say. Okay, I see. Okay, so I think you do. I believe that's you. It's so hard to tell with this damn camera. Yeah, I believe that's you. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's you. So, so you do try, but again, another reason why I don't like Ana Eichenwalde. Like, there's not much you could have done there if you did get back up there. You know what can you do? But Winston, Karma, you however, Um, so you almost killed the Lucio, but then he beats. And I think you get really mad that he didn't let you kill him. And you tunnel insanely hard. So right around here, you should have gotten off of Lucio. He beat it. He's going to be wall riding. Yes, you could dive him. You're not going to catch him. Like, he's Lucio. So especially at that tier. Like, if you notice, they're just solid Lucios. And especially in the Screw environment, I hope there be solid Lucios. And in this meta. You won't be able to catch them. You definitely won't. So tunnel way too hard here. Very good reason why you all kind of lose this. So while they're pressuring your targets and killing your team a lot quicker, you're still tunneling on this Lucio. You even ults for the Lucio. Hey, you finally get him, but your whole team's dead. So I don't notice any major cases of tunneling. Actually, there's one other case of tunneling you had. So it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, it really hurts your team. So just be aware of that. 48-17. Okay. That's dirty. That was a dirty shot. Very quick. So just really good recontest here. Really good recontest, but they had a very good Diva Bomb as well. So, and that's honestly it. I'm glad you all used ults because third point Eichenwalde, we know what that means. Our good old favorite comp, Goats. Goats, 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 Goats. Probably should have fast forwarded this a little. Alright, so Goats. So kind of a crazy start, right? They kind of try to force himself through like weird funnel here. Like it seemed like Calamity seemed desperate for some reason to like really force something to happen here, and they didn't really set themselves up in the best position. So it was kind of going in y'all's favor for a good while there. Sorry, it is going in y'all's favor. My bad. I was thinking of the wrong fight. I was like, wait a minute, this is not the same fight I'm thinking of. So then once the Genji dies, all of y'all probably should recognize there is no more immediate threat. Like they were trying to force this Genji blade, and they were really trying to like aggress, and they were all kind of on different pages too. But everyone that was nearby you all died, and so there's a very good window to stabilize here. Tony, I think you see a lot of people low, and you kind of freak out, and you use beat. I would understand if Genji was still alive, and even if it looked like he wasn't going to get any more kills, but you were unsure to beat. But he did die. There was a good window there for you to not beat. I don't think you should have beat. You have Ana for heals if you're running Zen Goats. Okay, maybe beat was justifiable with Zen Goats because your team might not be healed by the time, and then if you wait too long, they might reset up. So overall, I don't think this was the best beat. But yeah, I'll play it. But overall, so far so good. Y'all still playing that really well. Nice dagger onto Zarya here. Now around this moment, and especially in the goats v goats fight. So this is a more macro play thing. The enemies spawn on this map, and you should do this with any other map that the spawns are like this in a goats v goats situation. So their spawns kind of like tucked away, right? Like it's like kind of off to the side, and then they have to go out through this doorway here, and then they have this long stretch of a bridge. So you just kind of like heavily stagger them. And there's two heroes, you could consider three, but there's two real heroes that gain huge benefits from the poke phase in a goats v goats, right? Not talking about Zen goats though. So those two would be Lucio and Zarya. The reason being, Lucio could get some ult charge by poking. He doesn't have damage fall off, obviously projectile. Between poke phases, in between phases of fights, it's really good for Lucio to get some poke in, and the same thing with your Zarya, get some right clicks and get some charge in, right? So I would like to see, again, in the goats v goats situation where their spawn is tucked away, you could push up. You could push up either onto like where the Zarya's at, or you could even push up like a little bit outside of this little rumble here. And just kind of get some poke, because they're down a person, right? Like they're not gonna want to what's it called? They're not going to want to engage. So just poke them, and if they go into spawn, fine, then you go back. But if they're not in spawn, if they're just kind of running outside, get some poke in, right? Like every old charge counts. So that's a very, very, very small thing. Maybe not even worth mentioning in this VOD, but that's generally what I would like to see, is constant value being extracted at any moment possible. I just think that type of game philosophy is the best. Honestly, it's what I base my coaching off of, and that type of philosophy is very relevant on all parts of play. But so just a small thing. So you could have gotten all this time, like gotten all this charge. Like they're on the bridge. Like you could push onto them, and they'd have to back up. Like they're being overly cocky and aggressive. So I'm not sure. Yeah. You all won the first map, so I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to keep maintaining that aggression. It's kind of a psychological game too, right? Psycho warfare. So never mind. I'm not gonna make those references. I was gonna say a joke, but gotta learn my audience first. So if ult tracking here was precise, meaning the percent within an error margin of say like 10%, you'd know Lucio wouldn't have beat, right? And if Zarya did the earlier poke thing that I was mentioning, you'd have Graph, and you could have won this fight even before it started. That's the example. I'm trying to tie the previous point with this one, but that's the example of extracting value. And also, if your ult tracking is really good, you could have made a play off of it. Now, if your ult tracking is not the best, and say you were like, Lucio just has ult, okay, fine, then you're limited by that ult tracking, and it's no one's fault, right? Like the ult tracking comes with game sense and comes with practice. You can't really tell a player, hey, why don't you have perfect ult tracking? It's equivalent of, why don't you just click on their heads? So depending on your quality of ult tracking, could have made that play there, but that's fine. It's just something to think about, I didn't see this the first time. I thought, wait a sec, did you just walk past their team? And I thought you were hiding in Shattered, and I was gonna mention, like, maybe that was a risky place to hide. Oh my god, you literally walked past their team. Okay. And Reinhardt didn't keep track of you. Okay. What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? Okay. Alright, whatever. So to add on to this idea of constantly extracting value, And these little values are very, very small, right? Like these are wouldn't affect lower tier play whatsoever. That's how small it is. But the higher tier you go, anywhere you could gain value where you can, you should, right? So this is one of those other moments. Since you just killed 3 kind of all together, you should know that you have some time to keep getting staggers and keep going for picks, right? A good rule of thumb, yeah, you could say when someone dies, you could count 7 seconds, and when the 7 seconds are up, they'll respawn, right? That's a little too hard. So something to think about, if they disappear off the kill feed, so meaning like right now, I believe, yeah, Zarya was the last to die, and I think this one's going away. So once this one goes away, you have 3 seconds before that person respawns, 3 to 4 seconds, right? So after the 3 to 4 seconds, they'll respawn here, and you still have like a second or two to do whatever you can before they reach up to here, right? So they're missing 4 of their teammates now at this point. Ana's gonna respawn, then Brig, then Zarya. So you have time to get this diva here, right? You have time to kind of push in, and even if she did kind of boost her this way, like you could pinch her out, go this way, and then like just one person go this way, right? Pinch her out, demech her, and then get out. Maybe not that way. Get out this way. Don't want to get booped. But yeah, now if it gets more complicated, if they're running things with multiple win conditions, like say Widow, right? Because then you have to worry about if Widow respawns, you don't want her to push out through here and start getting picks onto everyone. But in a ghost v ghost situation, you definitely have loads of time to run around, get staggers that you need to, and if they if they still push out while you're getting staggers, keep getting staggers, right? Like so long as it's kind of like a 6v4 or anything more in your favor, yeah, that's good. If it starts to get to a 6v5, okay, time to back up, right? Like they could easily win that one, or have the possibility. But a 6v4, no, definitely not, right? So you still have time to gain some value here. I know, Zarya, you wanted to do that, but oh well, right? So like Zarya just disappeared off the kill feed, so you got 3 seconds, 2, 1. Zarya responds, and it takes 1 whole second for her to like actually see what's going on, and yeah, like as soon as she disappeared off the kill feed, then you could have backed up and been fine still, but just something petty, super petty. And ultimately it depends on coaching philosophies, so. So y'all rally here, but you don't aggress, which I find really, really strange. And not only that, I'm seeing a lack of frontline pressure with goats. Like goats v goats, it's you know, like, and they're kind of not doing the same thing sometimes too. But you should, like, the Rein should be here with shield. Next to him should be like a D.Va, Zarya, and they're like occasionally pushing out like in front of shields, around shields, kind of occasionally drawing fire away from shields. They have their own defensive abilities to use. So like, I don't see that right now. I'm seeing this where Rein's up here, and your off tanks are trying to support the Rein, and you know, like occasionally pushing up, but not really. Like, if Rein's health drops to like this, y'all's health should be dropping too, right? If Rein's health is dropping and y'all are like full HP, you're kind of doing something wrong, right? You're not really frontlining with your Rein. Yeah, you could say they have good target focus, but like body block a little for him, like hug pressure with him. It shouldn't be just Rein frontlining. It's goats, heavy frontline. Even Break should kind of be up there too. But I'm seeing a lack of pressure here. So something we could definitely fix. And I don't really know your comps, so. So y'all are rallying, but not providing that pressure. Rein's getting focused out by himself because frontline's not with him. And now that your Rein backed off because he was low off tanks, you all started aggressing and Brig you too, which again, not the way to do it, because now that your Reinhardt back the fuck up, and now you all push the fuck up. You get shattered. Like it's just all going really bad because of the understanding of the frontline pressure. So Brig dies. That's done, and that's done with. And you all start to back up now. Y'all should have had speed boost available. Y'all didn't use it. I didn't see any engagements happen, so I'm assuming y'all still have speed boost. So you had time to like speed back and kite them, but instead you use a Diva Bomb to create that space to separate the fight and disengage the fight. I personally would have wanted to see a Diva Bomb Reinhardt Shatter combo. I don't, again, since I don't have comms, I'm not sure what you all have planned here. But so I'm just talking out of 2020 hindsight, right? But like you use the nano defensively to save the Rhine. Diva used bomb, which was used to create space, and then so Rhine was 5% off his shatter. So like, it could have been a situation where you all just didn't really communicate what was really going on. Really just hard for me to say without comms. So if y'all were ult tracking, you would have seen that they would have had pretty much their win conditions. So you need to really win this fight, like with a hard win condition. Otherwise, it's not going to look good for you all. So when I saw this bomb, I was like, ooh, this is going to be super hard for you all to come back. Could have shattered their brig, but that only would have been 2 ults for 1 brig. Maybe not worth it. You shatter now, but it's too late, right? They have their win conditions, so they grab bomb. That's all she wrote. Now for the rest of this, ultimately it could be argued that they had map control, so they were able to just kind of keep you on lane spawn and whatnot, but just look at health bars on both sides of the team. Like, honestly, just look at them. Look at how much of their health bars go down as a team, and look at y'all's health bar and how it doesn't go down as a team. It goes down individually. That's a very good indicator of target focus, right? So check out this next fight. I'm not going to talk. Analyze it yourselves. I usually don't do that, but it's very clear as to what happens here. Bottom right, because casters are bots, or cameramans are bots, but whatever. So they get really low. They're all really low. Vanguard, like, you're getting focused the hell out. Ana gets focused out. Vanguard gets finished off. Rari gets focused out. Like, Tony gets focused out. Like, oh my god, like, everyone else is getting untouched, while just one of you all are getting focused out. While the rest of them, and I'll go back and play that all again, like, the rest of them, like, a lot of them are getting really, really low, but none of them are getting focused out. Like, Lucio low, Zarya's low, their Rhine's low. Lucio kind of dies, but the Rhine gets healed, but so does their Zarya. Rhine's getting pocketed, so, but then finally dies, and yeah, and there's no more damage coming out now. Because they just target focus the hell out of you all. So their target focus is just phenomenal compared to y'all's. Could be due to team synergy, comms. I would say it was due to the fact that you all are trying to run out of your spawns, so it's kind of harder in that situation, but just to show how important target focus really, really is. I don't think I need to play the rest of this out. Like, y'all know what happened, right? Like, all right, so part 1's done with. Part 2, defense. Let's do this. And do that typical thing that coaches do, the coaches should do, which is talk about both comps right before the fight starts. Just want to get to that point. Okay. So y'all run out with Ghost, you're like, oh crap, they have pharmacy, fuck that. We're going to dive. So let's talk about both comps. So Calamity goes with the interesting defense here, right? And I really want to point this one out. So interesting frontline, double main tank. Honestly, I think this is very underutilized combo here. This is really, really good. Yes, Winston doesn't have an off tank to help support him and enforcing space creation and enforcing map control. But the way this works is all these 4 people and asterisks here are in charge of space control. The way this works, so with the Winston D.Va, Winston could choose areas to contest, spaces to contest, and D.Va's really good about helping Winston contesting those space. But what's good about this is Hammond's good at disruption. Hammond's really good at contesting space with the Winston, but not in the same way as D.Va, but in the way that they both operate on their own agencies almost, right? Hamston. Fuck, words are hard when you drink too much coffee. Hammond has a lot of disruption, so he creates space via drawing focus fire, right? Via just being a nuisance. While Winston kind of also takes advantage of that disruption, but what really works out is the DPS enforce the space that the tanks are trying to contest via their damage, and these supports, like they're meant to enable the DPS, which are meant to enable the tanks. So this is all about like just hard pressure. Not only that, to get to make the lens a little more microscopic here. The Zen Mercy damage boost combos with the Ashe is gonna be very, very important here. Ashe being damage boosted or focusing discorded targets, like you could 2-3 shot a Winston, like you could 1-shot a Widow, squishies, like, and it does happen a lot. So that's kind of what they're gonna aim to do, right? Is they're gonna aim to not let you all aggress, keep you all at bay, and just try to pressure you all out. That's their goal. And now your goal, as offense, pretty obvious, pretty standard, right? Nano Blade, especially for against their comp, very doable. And then going for Widow picks. So a little more straightforward coming on your end. Not a bad thing either, though. Textbook plays are good. So let's get started. I believe I mentioned everything. I might have forgot to mention some comp differences, but those will probably come up later in the VOD. So something weird happens here. So, at this point, Hammond kind of he kind of went a little too early, right? Like his whole team were focus firing out this way, so literally the spots he needed to not be at were like right over here, and that's exactly where he goes, right? He goes everywhere he shouldn't. So that's Hammond's fault for feeding. Now I don't know what happens here. This is something you're gonna have to probably let me know, but like Anna, your team starts to get really low, and you were getting really good ult charge up until this point, and then your ult charge just kind of stops, and there's a lot of your team really low, and it stops for 7 seconds. Like yeah, getting like 1 shot there, but your team is still low. Like your tanks couldn't engage because they weren't getting healing. I'm not sure if you were trying to heal the Widow and you were like missing some shots, and she got killed by regardless of if you would have healed her or not. Like she got damage boosted, or she got headshot damage boosted by Ashe, which was damage boosted. Damn, I've been analyzing this for too long. So that's like 300 damage. Not gonna survive that for sure. But because you couldn't heal up your tanks, they got to engage. They got to choose the engagement. So I'm not sure what happened there at all. So but y'all killed the Winston, which is good. Which is like, this is really good. This is where y'all lose it. So you see Mercy fly away. You see Mercy fly away. Ashe is over here, and Pharah's over here. So out of this, who's the most separated, right? Like you really, that's honestly how you have to think about it. You have Zen here. I believe someone's over here. She's flying. Is she flying to just? I don't know who's over there. I think someone else is over there. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Just Zen. So you have Zen over here. Ashe, Pharah. So there's map controls like this, and just Pharah by herself, right? Whereas your team, the way y'all set up, your back line's like generally like right over here. Your mid line's like back over here, and your front line's also kind of back over here. So y'all are grouped up. You could easily just jump into Pharah, killed her, move on to the rest of the team. But instead, what y'all do, you end up diving the Ashe, leaving the Pharah to poke at your backline, ultimately getting some kills. And honestly, that's the reason why you lost that one. Target priority. So let's watch it. Hammond gets back. Y'all lost to Lucio. Y'all can't get out anymore because Hammond's back. Fight's lost. Time to regroup. So target priority lost that one there for you all. Unlucky. This next one is a execution error. So as y'all are pushing in, Widow grapples onto main, but y'all dive as Widow's grappling. So as Widow grapples, please Twitch. As Widow grapples to main, Winston, you dive, and like there's two major things wrong going on. Is you're diving by yourself, like literally by yourself, and I'm not even talking like you dive. Your team's like, oh, our Winston dove, like, let's go help him. No, like, you dive and your team just, like, stares at you and watch you die. Not only that, like Widow just you grapple, so, she's stuck there, essentially, as you're diving. She doesn't have, she can't shoot anything, right? Like, there's a huge tower there. So you're fighting a 5v6. Actually, you're fighting a 1v, like, 4v, and then the Widow's the other one. While they're all 6 here, and so this one lonely Winston is just diving into the team. 4 people watching Monkey get fucked. Oh, that sounds like a video. Never mind. Watching a monkey get destroyed, and Widow watching people watching a Winston get destroyed. So very grade A analysis, right? So that's all pretty much why you all lose that. I don't think there's any real other reason. It's just super messy after that. So because of that, y'all had the notion that maybe it was route selection, like going through that route that might have not been good. So you go through like a tighter corner route that's not optimal for your Widow. Now, again, I wish I had y'all's comm so I could really know what it is y'all had planned. But you all clump up here, and like look at this. So you all clump up super fucking hard here. All your damage is getting funneled this way, so that makes it easy for the enemy. Widow's trying to deal with, I believe it's like Pharah or something that's over here, and so it's just super easy for them to just like they're perfect. That's like ideally for them. They go in. These two go in. These two poke. These two support and equally poke. Zen is like always an asterisk. Fucking DPS player. So made it super simple for them. They just dive onto your backline. They get a crazy nade. Now y'all beat, so I assume that's why y'all decided to continue on the engagement. But even then, like, y'all should be going for the Zen, trying to force out that trance. So Karma, I'm not sure if that is what y'all had planned, but you went ahead and did it, and that's super good. This should have won y'all the next fight, but for reasons y'all don't. So you do force out the trance, great. Like, fight immediately worth it, even for the beat. So regroup ASAP. Diva, nice job jumping off, not feeding ult charge. yeah, this is where you should be going in and saying, all right, we Nano Blade and we win. GG's, GG's. But because of that Ashe combo, doesn't become so easy. I'm gonna wait a little more. Okay, perfect. So if you notice what happened, Ashe just deletes y'all. I believe she 2-taps the Winston. If not, she 2-taps the Winston. No, actually, let's just look. Let's just look. But Winston, I know you get fucking melted by that. Yeah, almost 2-tapped, and then you just a quick third. And then Ana, you get one-shotted by the Ashe as well. But you also nano the Genji, so y'all basically commit hard here. So for Winston, you know, unlucky. Like, I could argue that y'all could have gone through turret and gone a safer route rather than mid. But that was just a little unlucky that you just got deleted there. Try to be aware of that combo now, and try not to get deleted by it anymore. Try. Just don't get clicked on forehead. And Sombra, I don't like this, so you try to fight 1v1 the Zen, and it's not that you die here that I don't like. What I don't like is you try to 1v1 the Zen. Zen doesn't have trance. Like, he's not going to do anything about the Nano Blade. Not only that, he is not even actively in the fight. The fight's going on way over here, and his line of sight's, you know, like this tower prevents him from really engaging onto the fight. So, like, you could have probably focused a target from this angle, right? And help your team a little, rather than just trying to 1v1 the Zen. Now, if y'all would have had planned to dive the Zen, different story. Again, don't have comms, but if you would have lived here, you all probably would have won this fight. Like, any one little thing y'all could have done better here would have won y'all the fight. But yeah. So it was a really close fight. Bob's fucking like 6k SR though, so you can never really expect to beat him. And you all still had hopes here to like maybe get a Pikachu, and now it's like a Pikachu, Pikachu to get a Pikachu. But now fight's pretty much lost. So definitely should be regrouping. Good. And I notice here, like like as the fight's going on, y'all start to get more and more desperate, and it really starts to show, especially in these next pushes. So you're like, oh, they switched off of the pharmacy and they have Tracers in. Great, we go goats. Good call. Very good call. This is compositionally, you all have this one. But because the timer is going down, you all want to get onto point really quick, and supports, this one goes out to you. Even though timers are low and you want to make sure you don't C9, your goats, let your tanks do it. Lucio, you should only do it if your tanks can't get to the point. Then you need to do crazy Reddit wall ride stuff. Then yeah, but your tanks could obviously get to the point here. So supports, since tanks are definitely very easily going to touch here, you should be holding this wall angle. You should be holding, this turret angle, or the debris here, this junkyard scraps, whatever. Or you should be holding like here, right? So here. Those are where you all should be holding up. But instead, all of you funnel this way, except for, I believe, just Rhine. And that positioning ultimately gets you all killed. Because of this positioning that you all end up doing, you don't have good target focus, and because you don't have good positioning and you don't have good target focus, you all both lose on both of those win conditions, essentially. And positioning was a win condition here, and target focus was a win condition here. Because of this bad positioning here that y'all have, you can't really focus the Winston too well. And because of this bad position y'all have, y'all actually die before it as well. So y'all do end up getting the Winston very sloppily, and you lose your backline at the same time, though. Look at that! Look at this right side. So clean, so clean. Could have been poking. Could have been poking. But again, I understand the pressure, the mental pressure that's there. So hindsight's 2020 when you're clear-headed, but by that meaning you're not playing the game, you're not actively in the game, you're just looking at this. Of course, it's obvious why that went so wrong, but so like if that is the case, that it is more of a mental thing that you all just psyched yourselves out, then understand that as even the fight, even if a game looks very unwinnable, keep trying till the very, very end. That should be a very good indicator to know that. So nice try. I think there's I think majority of the issues lie within basic synergy. All of these are mistakes that aren't huge and could easily be polished and easily be fixed within a week. Like backline positioning could be fixed. Target priority could easily be fixed. So yeah, you all weren't really off here. Y'all could have easily won this, which is a very good thing. You should always take that as a good thing. So next up would be Eichenwalde, which will be for the next video.